Hi, it is nice to meet you on the path. Today's episode is called Breakdown. It's all right. Now, of course, that's the title of a very popular Tom Petty song. But what he's singing about isn't quite what I'm talking about, although I may weave that in somehow. That song, I think, is about trying to convince a woman to be with him that night or something to that effect. So, what I'm talking about is breakdown. It's all right in many different ways. And I just recorded a podcast really cool one yesterday with Joey Lavelle. And it's been a long time since I've done two shows like one day after another, but sometimes just got to kind of like get some stuff out. I think I have a show ready to go in my mind. And what happened was yesterday I went out about quarter till 6 p.m. And I was on my way to the gym to go work out with Valery Fedorenko, if you don't know. And I started up my Jeep, and it was really loud. I'm like, what the hell? I shut it off. I look underneath. Somebody stole my catalytic converter. And like I knew that. I could clearly see, but I didn't. I just looked for a second and then just got in my other car and went to the gym. Pretty sure I didn't even mention it to him. I didn't mention it. We got our workout in, talked for a while, recorded a video, and didn't mention it. So what do you do when something like that happens? Like, so as a guy, or I guess anybody else probably feel the same way. At first it's like this. Once you realize that somebody took a saw and cut it off. The Jeep's up high enough. You don't have to jack it up or anything. You can get right under it, saw the damn thing off, and go away. So first it's like, wow, another thing, because I was planning on replacing the radiator this weekend, but I didn't get to it. I had recently put a new thermostat in it, a coolant temperature sensor, and it was still like running hot, um, and just giving me like a few little issues, like nothing. Well, it's a major thing if you let it get too hot, but nothing too crazy going wrong with it. It also, and I'm not just going to like list a bunch of problems, but I'm trying to like kind of set the scene here of, because I know everybody has these kind of things happening, which is the whole point. Break down. It's all right. Okay. So I'm getting somewhere, but I'm setting the scene. So I had like this noise coming from my flywheel, and the other day my Jeep, I'm getting on the highway to go to work, and it starts bogging down on me. It's a 91 Cherokee, and it was running great up until that point, except running a little hot sometimes. And um, so, like, great. So I just pick up I was like, maybe it's the fuel pump, maybe it's a fuel filter. I can change the fuel filter really easily. I get a fuel filter on the way home from work. I put it in. I start driving, and right away it seemed like that was the problem. Cool. Well, then it started like kind of hesitating again. Like, man, my other car was at the shop. It was how I would either like fire right up, start no problem, or I'd turn the key and nothing would happen. When that happened before, I took my car, I got it jumped. It didn't like quite seem like that was the problem. So, but maybe. So Bad battery could do that for sure. Okay. So I go get the battery checked. They say the battery's no good. I see the test. It says it's no good. I spend the 140 whatever on the battery. I stop at the grocery store. It starts right back up. No problem. Cool. I go to the gas station. I go to turn the key. It doesn't work. Okay. So I think it's in the connection somewhere, but people keep like telling people about it a little bit, and they tell me it sounds like the starter. I'm like, I don't know if it sounds like the starter or not. Starters are $200 at the auto parts store. I find one online, same thing, for like $40, less than $40. So I get it. I could have put it in myself. It's not that big of a deal, but I have a bazillion other things going on. I take it to this guy, and he puts it on for $90. Cool. And I said, did you like start it up a few times? I'm not sure if that's the problem. And he goes, yeah. He's like, there was no bad connection. It must have been X. It's right by, there's not a very good heat shield, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I get dropped off from the Uber. I get my keys back from him, pay up. I go to turn my key and nothing. It doesn't start from the mechanics. So I took an Uber to the mechanic. I had to take an Uber home 10 minutes later from the mechanic. I just left it there for him to figure out. And I told him how I got it started, because did get it started when I'm pulling on these wires. So there's a bad connection somewhere. It's one of the bazillion wires, probably. He thought while I was pulling on the wires, he was doing this with the ignition. So maybe it's in the ignition. Maybe it's the, and I said, do you think it's the neutral safety switch? He doesn't know. So he has like a week to figure it out. And he's like, man, it just keeps starting. He's like, I don't know what's wrong with it if it just keeps starting. So my Jeep starts hesitating. I put the fuel filter in. It keeps hesitating again. I'm like, man, I call him up. He says it just keeps starting. Like, fine. So I swap him the Jeep for the car. And I'm like, cool. And I was like, it's hesitating, but it's also making this like really loud noise somewhere between the engine and transmission. He says he'll get to it the next day. He doesn't the day after that. He doesn't the day after that either. And he does like after the weekend. Fine. I got this other car I'm driving. Okay. He says the problem that he said it wasn't hesitating at all. Like, okay, cool. And that noise that I heard was the transmission mount. I'm like, huh. Doesn't sound like a transmission mount to me. It sounds like something kind of like spinning. But like the state of mind I was in, because I have like so many things going on. He says he'll charge me $140 to put the mount in. It's an easy job. I could do it myself. It's not a big deal. I go ahead and have him do it anyway. I get the Jeep back. That wasn't the problem. The first time I had him put the starter in, I asked him to put the starter in. So it wasn't like he did anything wrong. He did what I asked him to. I paid him to put the starter on. He did it. But then he, diagnoses the wrong thing. Maybe it did need a transmission mount, but it wasn't the thing. So I just bring it home. I'll fix it myself. So I have that thing to fix. I have the radiator to fix. And then I go to get in it, and somebody stole my catalytic converter. That's probably going to be a couple $100. Okay. And then I'm thinking, okay, there's like a lesson here, because I could get mad. I could wait out there. I would have caught the guy. I could have killed him, And so I'm like thinking through all this stuff, because it's like such a violation for somebody to just steal a part off your car. It's crazy. I know people get their houses broken into. I can't imagine how that must feel. My mom had her house broken into and a bunch of stuff stolen. It's a weird feeling. And when you're the son and that happens, there's like some primal stuff that starts happening, and you want revenge, basically. So this happens. I'm like, okay, they didn't break out my windows. They didn't break into my Jeep and steal my saw or whatever, my maul, or they they cut the catalytic converter off. I don't know if they did anything else. It doesn't, I didn't see any, I didn't even look, but did they cut the brake line? Did they do something like sinister? I don't know. I haven't got that into it yet. It was raining pretty hard after work today, and I just didn't feel like crawling under there to start figuring stuff out. But I start so I go and I take a look at the damage. Okay, am I just, all right, what am I, what kind of like, what's my plan a little bit here? And then I'm walking up the back steps and I'm like, break it down. It's all right. So I'm talking about my Jeep. Okay. It's a 91 Jeep Cherokee. I paid $550 for it like 15 years ago. It's been amazing for me. It's a freaking miracle. It's better now than what it was when I got it. And I haven't put very much money into it. And I'll fix it. I plan to have that thing forever. There may be some other cosmic plan, but my plan is, why would I get rid of it? I can just, somebody I need a radiator, I get a new radiator. Somebody cuts the catalytic converter off, I'll get a new catalytic converter. Wear out the brakes, I'll get new brakes. Break down, it's all right. There may be some point where it's time to leave it behind, but I'm a pretty loyal dude. Even when it comes to something like a vehicle, it's been loyal to me. I'm loyal to it too. I don't want it to go to somebody else that won't take care of it like I will. I couldn't imagine seeing it get like smashed up for scrap. Nope. So then my car, so I have my car back and it does it'll either fire right up, no problem, runs just fine, or turn the key and nothing happens. And then I'm outside messing with wires, pulling wires. Hopefully that works. It doesn't, it does. So I gotta figure that out too. And I could go on and on and on. And I'm sure you can too. Okay. So the car, I'm going to fix the damn car. It has a thing, something else I need to fix on it too. You have to fill it up with gas like one squeeze at a time because it has like probably the evac canister is full of water. It's a thing that Hyundai does, whatever. My mechanic guy said he'd put it on for $50. It's a pain in the ass to get to. It costs $150, $200. Inconvenient to pump gas like that, but I'll get it. It's on the list of things to do, right? Like there's all these things that need to be done. It's on the list. I was about to get to it, but then this other thing happened, and I was about to get to that, and then something else happened. I'm not just telling my story, I'm telling your story too, right? So I'm not like trying to get up here and like, oh, you wouldn't believe the problems I have. Sigh. Poor me. You all have it so good. No, everybody, it's like, man, this sucks. But I can also name a million awesome things that I have going on. Gym stuff, it's going awesome. At my job, I got fired from a job that I didn't like, and the next day I got hired at a job I did like. So I have a full-time, like what I call my job, and then I have the gym. I opened the gym in April. It's been profitable every month. It's really cool. I'm really proud of what I've built, partners that I've had, Valery Fedorenko, Chris Atkins. We're all doing stuff out of there. Cool things are happening. And it's like, it's just building. So many awesome things are happening. The podcast, it's just getting bigger. More people are asking me to be on it. And that's been going on for some time. Well, it doesn't really matter a whole lot, but I don't accept all the guests. And I'm pretty open to like different people coming on, but I'm also pretty picky too. And there's some people that that doesn't matter. So breakdown, it's all right. So I opened the gym in April. So it's my first time owning my own spot. I was an independent trainer for 4 years before that at another gym. I've done workshops at several different gyms. Uh, and then for the past like 20 years, I've been training people. But this is my first time having an actual business place. It's been profitable every month, but I had like this sort of a downward spiral of a bunch of stuff that cost me money, car problems left and right, some other stuff. And I got fired from one job. I got hired at another one the next day. But for a little bit, I'm thinking, oh my God, I got all this. There's so many things. I have so many awesome things happening. And then there's some stuff that just plain sucks too. So break down, it's all right. So sometimes when people think they're okay, yeah, so the car is breaking down, like the car is having problems. Okay, it has like this mechanical problem. All right. Some people will even refer to their car as temperamental, right? Like the people are temperamental, also emotional. Stuff happens, and when these problems start to weigh on us, some people just like break down and cry. I'm not really a crier. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with that, but I just don't really cry. I couldn't tell you the last time I did. I think it was when I pulled out a nose hair that was like going rogue. No, seriously. But if somebody does just like break down, they just need to like let it out, like some emotion. And in a way, that's what I'm doing here. So I didn't come on here to just list a whole bunch of things that have went wrong for me. These things have went wrong for you too. Okay. So instead of your Jeep, it's your Honda. Instead of your Hyundai, it's your Cadillac or whatever. And you start up a business and it's going pretty well, and then all of a sudden, the financial world around you starts collapsing. Take your car to a shop. Okay, here's $1,000. Oh my God. Got to take it back 300, take it back again, another 300, take it back 150, another 150. Ads and just constant things, right? It's not just my story. See, we can get these, like there's a saying, and I got it off the cartoon King of the Hill. I really like it though. John Redcorn, the Native American on there, says, "My people have a saying. When you ask the Great Spirit for strength, he gives you difficulties, which make you strong." And I like that. I don't know if it's true or not, but it is. It's like more true than true. It's more like true than a fact. Is the Great Spirit, is that what he does? Is there even such a thing? I don't know. But the difficulties can make us strong, or they can break us down, or they'll break us down for a little bit. It's all right. Okay, break down. It's all right. And if my Jeep does have a conscience, is conscious, or even has a conscience, and it feels bad when there's like a little problem, or like, did it feel violated when somebody was under there cutting a piece off of it? Did it feel anything? I'll treat it as if it did. It'll be fixed. Breakdown. It's all right. So I look at what I have going on, and I've talked to a few marketers, and I'm talking to a new one now, and I have some pretty high hopes for it. And just like I set out this list of priority, these like, because my podcast really has nothing to do with my training business. It has nothing to do with my gym. I might talk about it, but I'm not just like trying to sell personal training through my podcast. To me, it's a completely different thing. So I'm like listing out all these things that I have going on for, and then other uh, stuff outside of me that I'm working on. It's like, well, I have like a lot of cool stuff happening. So when we have all these things and they're just like weighing us down, like, okay, you have to like replace your radiator. I could have bought it. I had the money for it. I can get one. It's just like a little over $100, about $120. I can put it on myself. It'll take a couple hours, maybe. I don't know how long it'll take, but it's not that bad. But I can see how people, they start to break down, and then they have a hard time recovering from that. They have a hard time shaking it off. They have a hard time focusing on the cool things that are happening. And, maybe they just don't have a lot of cool things happening. That's a lot of people's reality too. So what's it all about? Why keep going? Like, why bother? And I think there are reasons. Some of them are really hard to explain. Like, some people could tell their story and like, I don't know. Just like to, if nothing else, inspire people that don't have it so bad. So I can complain. And again, my main point is not to just like list all these problems I have going on. My legs are fine. I can walk. I can run, kind of. No, I can run. I'm strong. I can climb. I'm in fantastic physical condition. And there's a lot of people younger than me that are just not, for whatever reasons. Maybe some of it's their fault, some of it's not. Maybe they just got a bad hand, bad hand dealt to them. But you break down, it's all right. And so I look at my responses to these things that happen. The car, the Jeep, back and forth, back and forth. There's this, there's that, there's both, and then besides just normal wear and tear, catalytic converter stolen. If you were me, what would you like to do to that guy? What would you like to have happen? Because there's part of me that does have, there's like that little primal thing that it's in there. I'd like to find out who did that. Wait till I got a hold of him. And I don't think I'm the toughest guy in the world. I know plenty of people that can beat me up. I've trained with them, but I've trained quite a bit. And if somebody else does not train and it's me against them, they're fucked. Unless they have a knife or a gun, or maybe get off some like crazy wild punch when I'm not ready or something, or from behind. Right? A lot of the toughest dudes I know have no interest whatsoever in trying to get in being in a street fight. So dangerous. Guys that I know that are really good knife fighters, really good, would never want to be in a knife fight against somebody. Even just some like, random crazy lady at Walmart. No, if she has a knife, I don't, you're better off running. All right. So what if I did get my hands on him? I beat him up and I go to jail? For a catalytic converter? Let's see. No, I don't think like that. I'm just, but for a second, I do. It does pop in there. It's such a violation, and you just want to catch that guy. What would have happened if I caught him? How well could I hold back from doing something? I think pretty well, unless he came at me. Then that would be bad news for him. Unless he had a knife, a gun, or was more proper training than me. But without training, no weapon, no way. I'm going to read something. It'll help me to segue into something else. I didn't want to just latch on to that because there's more of this breakdown. It's all right that I want to get to in other parts of our lives, not just talking about a car, but I'm not just talking about my car. I'm not just talking about the Jeep. I'm not just talking about both at the same time. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about career, business. I'm talking about everything. Anything around you breaking down. It's all right. It might be horrible. It might really suck. It's okay. It might be yourself. You're breaking down in response to that. It's all right. And then a scholar said, "Speak of talking." And he answered, saying, "You talk when you cease to be at peace with your thoughts, and when you can no longer dwell in the solitude of your heart, you live in your lips, and sound is a diversion and a pastime. And in much of your talking, thinking is half murdered. For thought is a bird in space, that in a cage of words may indeed unfold its wings, but cannot fly. There are those among you who seek the talkative through fear of being alone. The silence of aloneness reveals to their eyes their naked selves, and they would escape. And there are those who talk, and without knowledge or forethought reveal a truth which they themselves do not understand. And there are those who have the truth within them, but they tell it not in words. In the bosom of such of these, the spirit dwells in rhythmic silence. When you meet your friend on the roadside or in the marketplace, let the spirit in you move your lips and direct your tongue. Let the voice within your voice speak to the ear of his ear. For his soul will keep the truth of your heart as the taste of the wine is remembered, when the color is forgotten and the vessel is no more. I like that a lot. That's Khalil Gibran from The Prophet. I've read that several times on the show. I like that. And that's what it sums up. And he answered, saying, "You talk when you cease to be at peace with your thoughts." That's what I'm doing. Okay. So I had a show. I'm cool. I'm calm. I have, like, for the most part. But I thought there was a show here, so maybe it can resonate with somebody. Maybe this is stuff that people need to hear. And in these streams of consciousness, I wrote down no notes for this, and but and this is the only thing that I had prepared to read. I have 6 other books here to grab if I feel drawn to, which I probably will. For something random, though. Randomish, if there is such a thing. I would say one of the influences of me for this show is from the show Northern Exposure, Chris in the Morning. So the character Chris Stevens has this radio show, and it's just like for Sicily, Alaska. And in pretend land, it's not very many people. There's I don't remember how many people it says that are in that town. But my show reaches more than that. That's amazing. It's all over the world, but there's, yeah. And of course, Northern Exposure has been seen by more people than my show, but you get what I'm saying, right? But he would go, when he would be troubled, kind of like this is saying, he was such a cool character on that show. I think he was my favorite character on the show. And he would just go and he would open up the radio station, get on the microphone, and let out his thoughts and the way he was seeing things and looking at things and trying to see these things. And maybe the way I do this here, although I don't try to be like him, is what comes out naturally. And then I've realized of course, I've seen that probably every episode of that show. And he is my favorite character. I see myself doing a similar thing. Is what's the benefit of that? So besides how I would hope other people can benefit, maybe you're a little entertained. I hope the shows like help hope they're entertaining and get people thinking about their own situations. I hope people like what I read, and I get really good feedback. It's pretty cool. Which reminds me, pathnotespodcast@gmail.com is the new email for the show. The other email still exists. I never introduced myself. I don't think it says my name in most of the places that it's even heard, but my name is Ryan Hadley. On Instagram, it's @Hadley Fitness, HADLEY Fitness. But when you just let out that stream of consciousness, what happens? So I take these ideas, break down, it's all right. Really like that Tom Petty song, and that live version where the audience is singing. Oh man, that is so cool. What a great sound. How cool would that be to just have 50,000 people singing your song. But I'm not talking about that song, right? And again, I'm talking about things around you breaking down. Maybe there's health issues in your family. I bet there is. Every single one of you. I bet there's financial issues in your family. I bet there is. If it's not you, you know somebody. I bet you know somebody who has their business and it's struggling. If it's not you, it's somebody that you know. And I bet you know somebody that you thought, man, they really have it all together. Man, they seem to have it so great. And then you find out the truth of the horrible things they have. The horrible things they have going on. Some people just kind of wear it well, don't they? But maybe it's like exploring these thoughts, and a lot of it's probably has to do with my Zen training. And I get those thoughts. I just like what it feels like. It's different than anger, although there's probably some of that in there too. Frustration, like the feeling of like the universe, like almost out to get you sometimes. I get that. And it doesn't feel like it lasts, but sometimes it feels like it's just like right behind me too. I bet you probably feel the same way. But when somebody can steal my catalytic converter off of my Cherokee, and I can look at my windows and I can be grateful that they're not busted out. I can look at my tires and be grateful that they're not slashed. I can look at the brake line and be grateful that they didn't cut the brake line just to be jerks. Unless they did. I still have to check. I didn't notice anything. But in a weird way, so besides being grateful that they didn't hurt anything, I can still drive it. It's just loud. It'd be even faster now. uh, so what would you think about the thief that cut it out and kind of like did a good job? I mean, in that case, it's easiest to do a good job. If they just like grabbed it and started like tearing away at it, it'd be hard. But you put a saw to it, and you're done in. If it was like a battery powered saw, it could have been done in less than a minute. But it's a weird thing. But I'm grateful that they didn't do worse. I'm glad they didn't steal the whole thing. I'm grateful they didn't break my windows, slash my tires. And I almost feel bad for them because of the situation that they're in. They must be in to do that. You think they're making 85 grand a year? Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna crawl under this Jeep at midnight. Make, I don't know what you get for a catalytic converter that has 100,000 miles on it, but so their situation is probably a lot worse than mine. So maybe they just don't know a better way. So part of that's like the Zen training. I started meditation when I was a teenager, maybe even way before, depending on how you think about it. But I started formal Zen training at my jiu-jitsu school, Japanese style, when I was 18. There's Zen meditation every class. And then there were other classes, Zen meditation classes I went to there. So what you learn is to not have a physical reaction to things. So say, like my teacher would talk about his divorce. And he said like he'd sit down to meditate, and then his ex-wife pops in his mind, and he's like cussing her and, getting mad. And then, the next day sits down to meditate, and there she is. But he doesn't act like he's mad. He just sits there to meditate. He doesn't have a physical reaction. He's not pounding his fists and kicking stuff over. From the outside, it looks like very peaceful. And inside, it's not. It's not. Day after day after day. Sits down, there she is. Urgh. And then it's less. It's less. And then when he saw her at a store, he was able to smile at her. He said she was not smiling at him, but he could smile at her. Isn't that amazing? What it can do. So I wonder if I would have seen that guy out by my Jeep getting ready to cut off my catalytic converter. How fast could I get to that point where I'm sympathetic to him, empathetic to him? One of the O's, both, sympathetic, empathetic. And then maybe he would just tell me his story. But I'll tell you what, man, leave my fucking catalytic converter alone, but here's $50. Is that what you're going to get from the catalytic converter? You need it that bad? Here's $50, bro. Don't worry about it. Leave my fucking truck alone, though. Or would I have just walked by him like I walked by so many other people? Ignored that when they were asking for money. I've given to some. I've given when I haven't had much, and I thought somebody else needed it more. It doesn't make me any kind of a hero or whatever. I made a donation today at the grocery store. It was 11 cents. Like some heart thing. Asked if I wanted to round up to the nearest dollar for something heart, something, something. So I said, sure. 11 cents. But what if everybody in that grocery store for a week did 11 cents? And maybe it's not even the 11 cents, but it's just getting used to, oh, you need something? I got it. I got that. Okay, you need a heart surgery. You need $20,000. I don't have 20,000. I have 50. Maybe I have 11 cents. And what if everybody just went through their day like that? I can't do it today. I have 11 cents today. I have $5. I have 100. I have 1,000, 10,000. What if everybody just did that? And a lot of people do. I think people are, for the most part, generous. I believe that. I think Americans are very generous. I think other cultures are too, of course. But I think America as a country and a culture is very generous. The people. Break down. It's all right. Some people need their little freakouts. They can't help but to they need some kind of outlet. So maybe this shows is that for me and getting to express myself. I'm not calling somebody on the phone. I have this list of problems I really need to get out. I'm not doing that. Although I'm sure I have some friends that would be willing to listen. It's like they know I'd hear them out too. A lot of times we can do more than what we think, and we get like more and more as a baseline. And how do we handle this? Is it like, I'm gonna go get a 6-pack of beer. It's been a bad week. I'm gonna go get a 5th of whiskey. I'm gonna go out to the bar and get trash. It's $100. I have all these financial problems, but I'm gonna go to the bar and get drunk and spend $100. How many people do that? But what happens when we do that little splurging? I did a little bit of that myself, and sometimes I think I pay for it when I don't like to spend a lot of money on myself. I have a 91 Cherokee that I paid $550 for. My other car is a 2002 Hyundai that was a gift from a client. When he went to the nursing home, he gave me his car. I've never had a car payment. I got like $1,000 loan one time when I was maybe 21 for a car. Something like that. I'm 40. I've never had a car payment except for that $1,000 loan. So I don't go too crazy. I like to go to concerts. And when I got fired from my job that I didn't like, and I got hired at a job I do like the next day. So they were automatically putting money into a 401k for us. So I knew I wasn't going to stay there very long. And like I signed up to like match what they were putting in automatically, but it's like, I don't think it even happened. It like never, like something got missed, and I don't think it was even happening. But I was like, okay, I saw we didn't get actual paychecks either. It all went like online. You had to open up. You had to get into this system. And the password never worked, and it was this whole thing. So I never really was looking at my pay stubs, and I never got any physical copy of them. And so I wasn't looking at what I was contributing or what was getting contributed into my 401k. Okay. So I have other accounts that I know what goes in every week. But there was this other one that was like, so I'm getting these monthly letters from Charles Schwab. I never opened a single one. I was just like pretending that money wasn't there. So it will be there when I'm not pretending, basically. And I got fired, and then not too long after that, I get a letter from Charles Schwab that's in a lot bigger envelope. I'm like, oh, I'm going to open it. Well, I thought I had to be even there. I thought I had to be there longer for me to get the money they put in. Turns out I didn't. And so it wasn't a crazy amount of money, but I went ahead and cashed it out. It was at I was like, oh, I'm going to get some of this car stuff knocked out. I'm just going to like do some stuff. Get some stuff for the gym, and it wasn't even a crazy amount because that wasn't going on very long, but it was like 1,300, something like that by the time it got to me. It's not a crazy amount, but I didn't think I was getting anything from it. So get a check for 1,300. I'm happy about that. That's cool. So I ended up buying a guitar off a buddy of mine, buying an amp, and I went conservative on both prices. Together, less than 300, or like 350 for both. So good deal, really good deal for what I have. And I kind of like felt bad about it, and in a way, I was like, I'm the one that earns the damn money, but I feel guilty about spending it on myself for some reason. Sometimes, oftentimes, and then it seemed like after that, like all these things started collapsing, breaking down. Like more car stuff was happening, then Jeep stuff, and then there's this and there's that, and like all these things were happening. And like, not that that amount of money plays a big part in what I'm have going on, but I almost felt like the universe was making me pay for kind of treating myself. But I don't think that's really the way it is. Bad stuff was happening before, good stuff was happening before. It's just this thing I put together in my mind. Oh, now I'm being punished for buying a guitar by the universe. These thoughts, they don't last long, but they enter my mind. Uh, the Zen training, it works, but it's not a perfect thing. I remember my teacher one time saying, "Did you think after you reached enlightenment you wouldn't have any more problems?" Oh, that was pretty good. Yeah. What's it all about then, huh? We can surprise ourselves with what we can do, and I think that's a lesson that we keep learning. And what I see on Instagram and what I see in my community of friends is people cheering each other on. Sometimes we're talking about the rough things we have going on, but a lot of times when our group gets together, we're out in the woods. We're not really talking about problems. We're having fun. We're encouraging each other. We're in the moment. We're climbing a tree. There's no such thing. I'm not thinking about my car when I'm 60 feet up in a tree. I'm not thinking about, oh, rent's due, when I'm lifting a log out in the woods. I'm not thinking about that stuff. Oh, credit card bills due when I'm watching my buddy doing some crazy climb. But sometimes you get these things, they build up, and a friend needs to vent. They just have to let you know what's going on, and it should be an honor for you to listen. That they trust you with this, and just listening. Not that you have like, oh, okay, well now I have the strategy to solve all your problems. Just listening helps, and them knowing that you care. It's a big deal. We can surprise ourselves with what we can do. See, it's kind of embarrassing to admit, but I got scammed. It was on this loan. This loan looked like a good deal. It looked like it was like a five. I don't remember the numbers exactly now. It's been a while. It was like a 5% loan on about $2,500. And so it was at a time. It was a while back, but I get like the offer in the mail, and I'm looking at it. Normally, I would ignore that kind of stuff, and I'm looking at it. It's like, this seems like a pretty good deal, and I could use it to take care of this stuff, get some more gym stuff. It was before I even opened my gym, which is what I'm getting to here. And I was like, it seems like a good deal. Pay this much, and you could even, like, I think, extend the payments for like 2 years or something like that, or you could pay it off before, and of course, and pay even less in interest. But so I went ahead and did it, and I really got the money. And then, the first payment comes out just like it said. And then the second one comes out, and it was a lot more. And then it was like even more, but I didn't know it. And I had all these other bills set to come out automatically. And so I didn't know it. But I was getting overdraft after overdraft after overdraft, a bunch of them, because each place can try 3 times. So they're trying to take out like $80 or something like that. It doesn't work. It's like $30 some dollar, $35, whatever it was, overdraft fee. And then they try again. So that's $70, and then they try again. It was like $100 for all these different things, and it just kept happening, and I didn't know until I started getting letters in the mail, because what I think, there's money in the account to handle everything that I have going on. So I got wiped out, way overdrawn. At the time, I was driving a cab, and so I was making cash every day. And so I'm like putting money in the account, and then a little bit later I would check my account, and there'd be even further behind than what it was before I put the cash in it that day. I'm like, oh my God. And so I'm talking to the bank, and I'm like, I'm not doing this on purpose. I was like, I need these payments to stop. I was like, I got scammed, and I went from having 0 late payments to a bunch. Like, just it all just happened at once. I had 0 late payments, and then all of a sudden I had a bunch of them, like a few different credit cards and stuff. Everything I thought was cool. Now I had a bunch of late payments. Everything's due. I'm way overdrawn, and it's just snowballing. So the lady at the bank, she's like, "Oh man, I'm surprised they didn't close your account already." I was like, I want to handle this. I'm trying to. I was like, I got scammed. She's like looking, and I'm showing her the stuff, and she's like, "Okay, I can see that this is not right. But there's like nothing that she could do about my account getting perhaps closed, which would have really messed me up. And so she was able to stop the payments. I was able to call that place that scammed me, and the woman who answered, I don't know if she was supposed to or not, but she was able to stop the automatic payments. I really did get the money from the loan, but what happened after that was not what I agreed to at all. But she was able to stop those automatic payments from coming out, and I got my account caught up. I got everything caught up. But it messed my credit up because I went from having 0 late payments to a bunch, like in just a matter of like weeks, and I had no idea it was even happening. I think it was about a month that all this stuff was going on. So every time they tried like the overdraft, it's 3 of them every time. I got it caught up. The account did not close. I fixed it, but my credit still took a hit. So fast forward a little bit, I'm wanting to open a gym. I have friends that I'm talking about opening a gym with. And I was thinking that we were going to be co-signing on a place. That was kind of like part of the deal. And I was embarrassed to say that I had this credit thing happen. So when it turned out that I was going to be the only one putting the application in, I'm not an anxious guy. I don't get too nervous, but I really wanted to quit the gym that I was working at. Even though I was an independent, I really wanted to leave there. I really wanted to open up my own thing. I had this amazing opportunity with one of my kettlebell heroes. And so I put my application in, and it is just like this intense anxiety waiting for this call back to see if I got accepted into the place. So I'm thinking my credit's messed up. I mean, they can see I work. They can see I have money in my account now. They can see I can, like, things are cool now, but they sucked really bad not too long ago. And so this intense anxiety that's just so hard to describe, because my life was either going to like start to take this great turn, my own gym partnered with an awesome partner, and all of this stuff just like starting to happen. All of that could be starting to happen, or wah, 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 your credit's too fucked up. No gym for you. And well, I got the place. And just being able to do it all by myself, which, I mean, at 4 years old, it's not like this amazing thing, right? You do something for yourself. But after all of that, going from 0 late payments to a bunch in a really short amount of time, credit getting jacked up, to have that work out was really cool. And it's an embarrassing thing to have happened, but you gotta be so careful because everything looked fine. And I went back, I looked over the papers. It was just a flat out scam, but it didn't look like it. People these days are really slick. So you break down, it's all right. Okay. So getting your credit blasted a bit, it's not the end of the world if you do what it takes to fix it. So since then, been fine. Okay, we're cool now. But as the song goes, when life looks like easy street, there's danger at your door. Which reminds me, I have this Robert Hunter. So um, yeah, so when I talk about these things like credit, it's like such a personal thing, and it's so embarrassing. But I know a lot of people have had similar things. You have things like just start to like snowball out of control, and then even though you're an honest person and you're trying to do good, maybe you get to a point, maybe you get to a life situation where, okay, I need money tomorrow. It's 10 o'clock at night. Baby's hungry. If I just go out and take 3 catalytic converters, it'll get us through the week. Uh, well, I haven't read through this yet, but this is from Robert Hunter, one of my favorite writers. Wrote a lot for the Grateful Dead. If I had the world to give, I just turned to this after turning for a little bit. If I had the world to give, I'd give it to you, long as you live. Would you let it fall or hold it in all your arms? Or hold it all in your arms? If I had a song to sing, I'd sing it to you, as long as you live. Lullaby, or maybe a plain serenade. Wouldn't you laugh, dance, and cry, or be afraid at the trade you made? I may not have the world to give to you, but maybe I have a tune or two. Only if you let me be your world, could I ever give this world to you. Could I ever give this world to you? But I will give what I, sorry, but I will give what love I have to give. I will give what love I have to give. I will give what love I have to give, long as I live. If I had a star to give, I'd give it to you, long as you live. Would you have the time to watch it shine? Watch it shine? Or ask the moon and heaven to I'd give it to you. Maybe I've got no star to spare, or anything fine or even rare. Only if you let me be your world, would I ever give this world to you? Could I ever give this world to you? It's quite a bit of writing, over 300 pages from him. It's different bands too that he wrote for. I don't know. Maybe I won't read any more of that right now. Maybe there's, I'll start to wrap it up here. I'm not sure quite how long I've been going. I didn't want to do a real long one, but I never really plan on a specific time. I'll just Um, maybe what I'll do is I'll start from the beginning of this, and then maybe I will work my way to the end eventually. I don't have to take it back to the library, which I probably will before I finish it. It's from Kluger 85 short pages from Sand and Foam. Let's read a little bit. I won't read very much. I'll let you go here. I am forever walking upon these shores betwixt the sand and the foam. The high tide will erase my footprints, and the wind will blow away the foam. But the sea and the shore will remain forever. Once I filled my hand with mist, then I opened it, and lo, the mist was a worm. And I closed and opened my hand again, and behold, there was a bird. And again I closed and opened my hand, and in its hollow stood a man with a sad face turned upward. And again I closed my hand, and when I opened it, there was naught but mist. But I heard a song of exceeding sweetness. I think I'll stop there. Put the bookmark in, see if I have. It's a cool one. I like it. I've read throughout several pages of it, but so my point, the whole point of the show, break down. It's all right. Okay, we have like these problems. It's what we get here. It's just what we get here. Is the next world going to be easier? Harder? You know, a lot of people think this is like a training ground. Or, you know, someone say it's a place for consciousness to become aware of itself. It's kind of cool. And whatever it is, this is what we get. And I like the Ram Dass quote, we're all just walking each other home. So in closing with that, it's tough to beat that for an ending. But break down, it's all right. So when you have these things collapsing around you, if you probably have people that you need to be strong for. But maybe you don't have to be the strong one all the time. Maybe if you're the husband and you don't want to look weak in front of your wife, so you have these things going on, you know, we don't want to talk about what happened at work if it wasn't good. You know, why do we want to bring it with us, right? But sometimes maybe they'll fade off into their TV and they'll ignore her. Or maybe the wife has so many things and the husband, he has so many and just can't get the ratio of listening and speaking right. Well, reach out to your friends too, because everybody's going through this stuff. So I didn't come on here to like list my problems so you'd somehow feel bad for me. I got it pretty damn good. I have it pretty damn good. I have so many cool things happening, awesome friends doing awesome stuff. I'm doing awesome stuff with my awesome friends, business stuff. I'm doing business with some of my best friends, and it's awesome. And yes, I have, okay, so somebody cuts off my fucking catalytic converter. Okay. I'm not happy about it. Or am I happy about it? Because they didn't break my windows. They didn't slash my tires. So they just stole my catalytic converter? Cool. Okay. Can I get there? Am I there all the time? Not really. It's helping to talk about it, even to all of you. But reach out to that friend, say what's going on. And when they say, not much, what's up with you? Say, no, I mean, really, what's going on? And prepare yourself for an hour, 2 hour conversation. Maybe it's mostly listening for 2 hours. My buddy Sam and I will do that sometimes. We may not talk for a while, but when we do, we both tend to just like let it out. Here's the billion things that have happened since you and I talked last. Here's the billion things that are going on right now. Maybe I start and he's listening, throwing his thoughts in here and there. And then it's his turn and he's letting it out for however long, might be a half hour. And I'm listening, throwing my 2 cents in, but listening. It's huge. Because a lot of people think maybe, even though they're married, and maybe they know their wife does a lot, they still feel like they're by themselves too. They don't feel like they're heard, or maybe they don't get the little bit of sympathy. You know, sometimes we just need like a little pat on the head and like, it's okay. Yeah. Break down. It's all right. Thanks for tuning in.